Every one of us have had that moment when we say, is it time that we need to replace the windows in our house? We see some of our neighbors replacing their windows. Our home is about 20 years old, and therefore it's kind of reached the life of a expected window. You start to feel drafts around the windows, kind of like a door. If you shut a door and it doesn't quite have a tight seal around it, you can feel that cold air coming in. Same thing with heat. If you notice a smoggy look inside the glass or moisture where the seal is broken, if you look on the outside and you see that there's rotted wood, rotted decking, or the caulking is starting to chip out, if in fact you go to close the window with a clasp, it doesn't close tightly, those are all signs that it's probably time to have your windows looked at and to get replaced. The second key point is, how do I find a trusting quality company to install the windows? You can research on the internet in a number of places to find companies, but you have to trust that they're going to do a quality job installing the windows, not damaging my property, not leaving me in a lurch in the long run. So that's key. Question that you have is, how is this going to be installed? How is it going to look? And what do I need to do to prepare for it? How long will it take? So we're going to spend the next segment going over items to look at, questions you might have, and then what needs to be done. I've got Jeff here with me today, who installs windows and understands these aspects, to kind of answer some of the questions that we find that we run into when we're speaking to homeowners. For an example, we've got some rotted decking that's been replaced here and back over here. So my concern is, what do you do with that, and how do you deal with it?
Well, normally, like see that you've got your brick molding here, it's rotted. That's a typical place where water travels and gets in. And right here in the brick mold, this is your sill nose, usually rots out through there. Or those are just normal, typical repairs, like a mold. This is a mold piece, and that right there. So if it's not damaged too bad, see like this here, this one's been replaced. If it's excessively rotted, then what we do is we cut the section out, and we put in a patch to be able to, when we wrap the window, that it has something solid to nail to.
Okay, and you wrap the window with what?
You wrap the window with a metal cladding.
Okay.
And it has, the cladding has, it's metal that we bend on site, and then we take and typically we match your gutters, the gutter color or whatever. See, like with the color here, we'll take our samples and then match the color to the different cladding. You got about 50 different colors you can go through.
Okay.
And then we match that, and then we put the window in, and then bend the metal to
Would it
cover all
look
this stuff.
similar to this, or I mean, would it just be out and down, or does it look similar to this same kind of setup?
You won't have this much definition on it.
Okay.
On it, what you're going to have is there'll be a little flare piece here, so it'll come here, and then it'll basically,
Okay.
you'll lose this definition in here. So this extra step back, it'll literally just come out here and then tail back to the window.
Okay.
The actual window
Okay.
itself.
And the color is going to match because of the spectrum that you have, as close as we can to what you currently have up here.
Exactly.
And I think you can get that in a window. Can you get that in the window color
Yep.
as
We
well
got
as?
10 basic colors that you can get it for the actual the vinyl replacement color.
Okay.
Typically, like they're the 10 colors that 90% of everybody has.
Okay, because I noticed some houses there'll be a white window and then they'll have a cladding or a metal wrap that looks close to the other. So I just wanted to know that.
Yeah.
The other question I have is this window removed from the outside or from the inside? So, and what part is removed here on the outside? What part is?
Well, when we do a typical window installation, we go inside. We have to take off, like if you have plantation shutters or you have window blinds inside, we take and remove those off of there. Or that's the process. You take and remove those, and then we take out this material right here, which is your like your window tracks.
Okay.
Tracks here. Each one of these, you pull the actual windows out from the inside. They fold because they're folding out. So on this style, you take and remove the window. Then you take the window tracks. They compress, and then you pop those out, and then your new one slides in, and to the back of your window stool
Okay.
on the inside.
And I know an important thing to me is, you know, some of the windows I think don't have insulation in the framing of it or what have you. They're hollow, and therefore they allow more air or cold air or hot air into the house.
Yep.
So we're talking about a window that would eliminate, that has insulation. The framing has insulation.
Framing has
Okay.
insulation.
And then of course, am I correct? Is there insulation that's put around the window and back inside here?
Well, when we put the new window in, we take and foam around all of any air gaps around it on the outside.
So we foam on the inside of all this so that there's everything is airtight.
Everything is airtight,
including the framing of the window.
Including
and
the
of
framing
course,
of the window.
you guys, I think, have a much better insulation factor in today's windows than before.
Exactly.
Okay. So the rot, if I heard you right, the rot is either has to be cut out a section and replaced.
Yeah.
If the whole seal is rotten all the way down, then what do you have to do in that case? Because I've seen places where, not on this window, but they're really rotted. What do you?
If you have extensive rot, like see with this one, we wouldn't even do anything with these right here. With yours on this one here, we wouldn't touch any of that right there because
So
it's not.
You just wrap
Just
it
wrap
with
around
metal.
it, wrap the metal on it. But if it's really extensive, if your main sill and sill nose are rotted, then what we do is we take we remove the main sill and sill nose, and we put new in.
Okay.
We put new wood in because we have to be able to attach the new cladding to it to something solid.
Okay.
And
So I think I've got how all this does. I want to look up top. I got this transom window, and so if I only did these windows, would I still have to wrap that with metal so that I'll tie it in? So you almost really need to do the transom window, would be logical at the same time, am I correct?
If you have damage to it, then you would replace because it's a fixed window. You would remove it and replace it, and then it would just get wrapped. If it's in good condition and they don't want to replace it, and then we just literally, like we do the wrapping on these, it just literally gets the whole unit gets wrapped.
Okay. Now I noticed there are no, like they call them, what do they call them?
They're GBG. They're grids. between the
Grids.
glass.
There's no grids here, but the design of this house has grids on the outside, so I think you can get grids on the outside today
sure
as well
can.
as the inside. So you could have the same kind of look, or you
Exactly.
could add grids to this.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. When you have a fixed window like this that doesn't have the slides in it,
Exactly.
how does that come out?
Well, this one, all these windows are installed from the inside because this window actually goes to about this point in the actual frame.
Okay.
So you take and typically with this is that you'll take and remove blinds and shutters on the inside, or have them removed ahead of time, and then it has a stop material like a trim piece on the inside.
Okay.
You remove that, and then the new window actually gets put in the same space. We measure the opening, gets put in the same place, and then same process as over there. It just literally gets wrapped.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay. I don't have any questions on this, but I want to look up top here. We can come out here. And this may be better over here. I've got this, I don't know, I call it a semicircle window, a fixed window.
It's a window. It's a radius window.
Radius window, okay.
It's a radius.
And that's the same way as this from the inside?
Yep, it's a fixed.
And I think we can put the grids on the outside of this probably too.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so I see a couple of them in this house.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that I've got some small windows in this house up in the attic space.
Yes.
And I know that I've just blown in a whole bunch of new insulation for energy purposes, so I really don't want anybody treading over that and smashing it down, because then the R value drops significantly.
Exactly.
So I don't know that I'm going to change those, because these have to be changed from the inside.
All from the inside.
Okay.
All from the inside.
And they're in the attic, so it's
Yeah.
not really, I've got insulation, so it's more of a look kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're not. And if those windows are old enough that you're showing, like if on any of your windows that you'll see the fogging on them, if they're fogged or bad, you take and that's when you want to replace them.
Yeah.
If it's fogged up, like see that one up there is.
But
not.
even if it's in the attic, does it? And then here would be my question: if I don't, I could still wrap that, correct, with the same wrapping here.
Wrap it.
So you could make all of them look identical
Yes.
with the type of wrapping instead of two different types.
Exactly, because then that one up there is that if you don't wrap that one at the same time, you're going to end up having to climb up there with a ladder and have it painted.
Yeah.
Where
And it's going to be the wrapping is not as, what did you call it, as defined as what these are here.
That's right.
So it would have a different look. So it would be logical to get that wrapped at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just to streamline it.
So on the outside, pretty simple.
Yeah.
A lot of it's taken off from the inside, so we're going to go in there and do it. It's measuring the windows, finding the right size, finding the right colors, understanding what you want as far as external grids, no grids, or as here, or grids that you might have, like in the fixed windows here.
Exactly.
In the attic, I think we indicated that you probably wouldn't want to if you have a reason. You can always get in the attic and replace it, but it has to be from the inside.
That's
so
correct.
if you've done insulation work up there, you're going to eliminate the R value of the insulation by walking on that, but you'd still want to wrap it.
And so if those do need to be replaced, because it's real common, because they're the same age as the rest of your windows. Like see with that one has grids between the glass.
Right.
As well, if you don't have any grids down here, or if you eliminate all the grids, it's on all your windows that you're putting in. You got one up there at the top. You want it to match.
Yeah.
And so what we would do is we would factor in when we go in the attic that we would remove the insulation as we're going to the window. It's minimally invasive.
Okay.
It's usually about 5 to 10 minutes of work on the interior of the window to pull it out and put the new one in.
Okay.
It's not that much. Most of our work on the cladding is all done from the outside.
Okay.
So it's minimally invasive. And then if there's a brand new stuff in there, we just factor in like, okay, we'll blow in the insulation that is roughed up.
Okay.
To do that.
Okay. Excellent. So I think I've got everything on the outside. Why don't we take a look and go inside? Because I do have some questions on that, because I'm concerned about my, debris and trash and everything, and what it's going to look like, and is all my stuff going to fit? So let's go inside, okay?
Sounds good.
So another major concern that homeowners have, they may have plantation shutters such as these, okay, which are fixed to fit the window. They may have curtains, they may have blinds, they may have shades, which are all on the inside. And so the question is, how is this, how do you work with this? Do you have to take it off or what have you? So why don't we just start with, for example, on plantation shutters, that has to be removed before? Any of this has to be removed before?
Before install.
Okay.
Before install, if it's in this area, if it's in the window area, like the actual inside of the window. Like see, this one is, this right here with the plantation shutters, like these, they have to be removed out of here. They have to be removed out of here by a professional, and then those will have to be reinstalled afterwards. Or if you have like blinds, like a lot of the fake wood blinds, those are in the inside. Those have to be removed. If you have curtains and they're above the window, they're not in the window itself, then those can just stay up. So anything inside this window, like from the trim, anything inside the window trim, those areas, have to be removed and set aside and marked. And then after the window install, then they get put back on.
Okay, so we talked about the concern of rot and the type of window and everything on the inside. Now we're talking about that these things have to be removed. And some of these things are removed by the window
Installer,
the window installer, but certain things probably need to be removed by a professional. And the reason why I say that is how they fit exactly together. They have to be set in so that plantation finds fit. Is the window on the inside going to be any farther in? Could it throw this stuff off, or if you had blinds up top, would it? Or?
No, not on these, because what we do is when they install the windows, this is your window stool. See where this line is right here, where the back of the window stool is? The new window comes and slides into that point. And so with these being set here, these are set at the edge of the window stool, if you can see down there, and all the way around. It won't move them out at all. The only reason why we will remove them is because we have to seal the new window into the trim to make it.
So it should fit in, everything
Yep.
should fit back in place.
Exactly.
Some things probably need to be done
Yep.
by a professional
Yeah.
so that it lines up. Okay,
Yes.
maybe your plantation blind, the people who installed it, or somebody that understands how to do that.
Yeah.
As a window company, you would not take these off specifically.
Yeah.
We'd have a professional do that as part of the
Exactly.
contract.
Yeah.
A couple things I notice on windows, they start to shift, and a lot of times these don't fit. So this is another problem that homeowners have, is these no longer lock. If you've tried it and you can't get it to lock, you're getting air coming in here. You can feel air coming in here or around the window or at the base of the window. Then you know you're at end of life. Besides, and we'll show you that fog in just a minute here, but those are some of the quick tests that you could take. Besides the rod on the outside, does the window still seat properly? Does it fit? Has the home shifted a little bit? Or are we in a position that it's done? But again, everything on the inside would be painted or would be set in from the inside.
Yeah.
By the way, you could match as closely, have to be the same on the inside as outside, you know. So a lot of people prefer just to go with a white window. This is a white window on the inside, so it would be white on the outside also.
Exactly.
Okay, so
and
that's
those are the factors there with the color factors is like, what color do you want to, because it's a solid vinyl.
right.
So with the replacement is that when you do your color, how do you want the inside to look, and the outside to look?
right.
And that's sometimes like
Yeah.
why the windows are installed and they're white on the outside and then wrapped with the gutter color. Because the inside of the windows, the trim and everything is white.
Is what you
White,
see. You
yeah.
spend more time looking at that. You're
Exactly.
farther away from the house. Good
Exactly.
point. Okay, so this is kind of a typical window, wood window. Some are metal. This happens to be a wood window. This doesn't have the same ultraviolet reduction as a new energy efficient with special gases. It doesn't cut out as much of the solar, and it's certainly the new window is about a 30% greater R value, or eliminating about 30% more heat exhaust out of the house as well as solar heat coming in. So a big advantage on that. But if you got plantation shutters, anything that shades, blinds, curtains, everything can be worked around. It's typical. A typical window like this would take how long to replace? Let's not worry about removing this because that's done before.
So let's say they're removed before. If all the stuff is removed before, you're looking at about 30 minutes per window. So for removal, remove all these things. They'll go through and they'll tarp the floor. They'll tarp the floor area. There's not much mess involved in this type of stuff, because this is, once again, we're just doing a replacement unless it's a full cutout.
Okay.
Unless it's a different style that we have to, which we're not demonstrating that today, but
And that's not typical of a lot of
on
homes
this
here.
style window, there's hardly any.
Okay. These are standard windows.
These are standard windows.
And so you'd put a standard except for the fixed that are in certain areas,
Exactly.
and then that would be manufactured to fit the opening that you have. I can't think of anything else in here. It's a simple process, takes about a half hour to do per window. So
Yeah.
whether it's winter or summer, windows are done year round, okay?
And
Whether
if
it's
it's
hot
a
or
double
cold.
like this one, you're looking at 30 minutes for total for a window unit.
Okay, for a
So,
whole window unit.
Yeah, because you
Okay,
have to
good
set
point.
you got set up in each room. So if you got a double window unit like this one, you're still looking at about 30 minutes because they got to set up the tarps, make sure everything's good, pull the windows out, put the new ones in, seal them, and then clean up.
Okay, excellent, okay. I don't think I have any other questions here. And I know that if you have sales, the salespeople, when they come over, they can be more specific and answer any concerns you might have. But generally what takes place, pretty simple process. I'm just gonna show you a couple other things real quick, and that's where the seals are broken. And I'm sure you've all seen this, and you know your window is not functioning and protecting you and saving you energy the way that you like. So here's an excellent example where a number of windows still function. But here's an excellent example where the seal has broken in the window, therefore there is no R value to speak of anymore. Therefore any kind of heat or any kind of light that you, solar light that you have coming in does it. The other thing to remember, the new windows now have gases that cut out a significant amount of the ultraviolet light, which damages your carpets, your furniture. That's what does the most deterioration of material, is that ultraviolet light that comes in. Nothing spectacular in here. You have a transom window here that has the grids on the inside and outside. That can be replicated or eliminated that you have here. So you have a number of choices. Color normally you match to the inside, even though we spoke about the outside, because you live in your house. So if you have white trim, you don't want to have everywhere else. You don't want to have that, because that's what you see. If you have white shutters and you look between them and everything else is a different color, then you have an issue. None of the molding, if I take a look here, molding is not touched, so all that remains the same. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
No painting.
Okay. I think that pretty much covers most of it to help give you a peace of mind as to how a window is replaced and what's required. The main thing is, if you have plantation shutters, professional really needs to do it because of the way they absolutely have to fit perfectly in. We have people that can do that. If you have blinds or curtains or any of that, we can take care of that. Or if you want to take them down before, there's a little additional cost to do that kind of work. It's usually pretty simple. They'll hang right back up in the same spot, but you have to have the slot the correct side, if I'm correct, to fit the window in, which has to be inside the frame. Okay, I hope that answers your questions. Hope that gives you an idea. I know you're going to go out and look at different vendors to find out what they provide and what they offer. There's about energy savings, there's about types of materials, there's about insulation values. They all vary, whether they have insulation in the window frame as well as around the window. So you want to make sure you get all your facts together. We do have the sales team that can come out and help you answer that. But in our year's experience, a lot of it has to do with, am I comfortable with who's going to come in here and take my windows out and take my house apart? Is it going to look the same? Or am I going to have something that's totally different? And the answer to that is, it's going to look the same. The intention of most individuals is to have the window look as closely to the way it is. However, there are options available. Those options can be discussed with the sales representatives that come out. That'll help measure and inform you on specifics that you may have as it relates to your home. Any questions, please give us a call. Professional Windows, Division of Professional Roofers, 615-778-1440. Thank you very much.